Hello, it's Jay here again. Welcome to another video. So, in this lesson, we're going to flesh out the starting game script a little bit more. Now, we are going to have, at a later date, have this script instantiate more things into the scene. But for now, we're just going to get some of the basics in place. And basically what we're going to have is a black screen that basically comes up, level now loaded, press any button to start. And it's nothing we haven't done before. In fact, we've done the code I'm going to be using. We've actually used quite a few times before. So for that reason, I'm not going to explain how the code works or spend a great deal of time explaining it. I'm going to more quickly run through it because, as I said, we've covered this many times now, and if you are unsure, then you can always go back and recap with the early videos. But we'll begin at the top and we'll create some variables. So we'll begin with the public variable texture 2D underscore foreground, close that line off, into the comments, create slot in inspector to assign the foreground texture, and we'll copy that line, we'll paste that in below. We'll change it to underscore foreground text. We'll change the comment also. Now, you can make this variable public or the next variable public if you wish. We need to actually, we'll get the, let's start with private float and we'll get the underscore foreground fade value in place. So let's just put that in place. Defines the fade value for the foreground. And this is the one you can make private or public if you want. So I'm going to make mine private because I know what I'm going to use, and in fact let's just copy and paste the previous line in, and this is going to be speed, so we'll just change that to speed in the comments as well. Obviously you may want to experiment with these values, so I'll leave that choice up to you. Private bool underscore start button pressed. That's going to be equal to false. Into the comments defines if the start button has been pressed, and again of type private, and we'll give this a naming convention of fade out underscore fade out again, close the line off. Into the comments defines the fade out naming convention, and then we'll create that function, or that enum should I say, private enum fade out open and close brackets. That gets rid of the red error there. So in the enum we'll begin with saying waiting for key press equals 0, foreground fade out equals 1. No comma on the last one. Yes, I'm actually going to put this in the awake function, so I'll create that now. Private void awake, rather than using the void start. And we'll say the foreground fade speed. I'll just fix that typo. Equal to 0.25f, close that line off into the comments. Sets the foreground fade speed. And you may want to delete or comment out this line if you're going to set this to public and experiment with the values, but 0.25f I feels about right, at least for my project. So we'll now come to underscore foreground fade value is equal to 0, close that line off, into the comments, fade value equals 0 on start up. And we'll actually come below here. We're going to create some functions, so these will need to be public. Void set fade value, and yes, these do have to be public because we're going to reference them from another script. Open and close brackets, open and close gain. We'll just put in a normal debug log. And as normal, we'll copy and paste the naming convention in there. And this one, oh, we only need one line of code, so might as well do that now. Foreground fade value is equal to 1, close that line off. Set fade value to 1, and now we'll come below here. Again, this is again going to be public. Again of type void, and we're going to say set begin, and we'll use fade out. And again, we'll put in the debug log. And we'll copy and paste that naming convention in. We're going to leave this function blank for a moment. And the reason we're having to do this function here, set fade value to 0, is otherwise it will interfere with the splash screen, the main menu otherwise. So we set it to 0. And then just before we begin to fade out, we set it back to 1. So with that in place, let's have a look what else we can do. I think that should be enough. Now I'm going to come to the main menu script, and I'm going to come down to the IEnumerator load main level, and this if block here, which deals with the async operation. And I'm going to come just below where we allow scene activation, and we're going to put in another line. Well, actually a few more lines. We're going to say starting a game. With the capitals, we need a temporary variable, so I'll use underscore SG for equal that represents starting game, equals sign game object with a capital G, find game object with tag, open and close brackets, inside the brackets, little speech marks, and in between those we're going to say player underscore, and we want instantiate, and we're going to say at the end of the line dot get component. We're going to open and close the brackets. We're going to say the starting game for this. We'll come to the end of the line, open and close again, and close the line off. So let's break this up for commenting. And we can just put, let's say, temp variable of underscore sg equals find the game object with tag of, and I'm actually going to copy this because we're going to need it twice, once for the comment, so we'll put that in, but we'll get the comment for the last line in, and we'll say and get, we'll say starting game script component. So we're just saying a temporary variable. First we find this game object and then we make it equal this. We want to reference the starting game script. And yes, I have explained that part just in case. But we're going to come to the resources folder, the player instantiate prefab. We'll come to add tag, hit the little plus, we'll paste that naming convention in again. We'll click save, and we do have to come back and assign it. So with that in place, let's come to the next line. We're going to say underscore sg dot, and we want to set fade value, open and close brackets, close the line off. Into the comments, call the set fade value function from the starting game script. We'll just copy that line, we'll paste it in below, set fade. In fact, we named it set begin fade out, didn't we? Yes. Let's just copy that naming convention, paste that in. So set begin fade out, and we'll just copy that into the comments. Just get rid of the empty line, and we'll save all there. We cannot test it as of yet, but we shall pick this up in the very next video. So as always, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I hope to see you next time. And until then, as always, bye for now.